And welcome back. Today we are going to talk about the white gel pen project. So what this is, we're going to use a white gel pen, much like this one here, and we are going to do a drawing of your choice on top of one of these 6x6 black pieces of paper. So like I said, it is a drawing of your choice. So it can be something that is linear, it can be something that is an actual scene, like the man on the moon here. Or we've got a lot of space stuff because there's black and white, which shows up really well. We have a whale with some contour lines that go around the outside of it. We've got Snoopy here rising up in the moon. So it can be a variety of things as long as it uses the entirety of the page. And it doesn't even need to be straight up and down. It can be diagonal like this one, just to change things up a little bit. Okay, so like I said, it doesn't matter as long as it uses the entirety of the page and you are using a variety of marks, because we don't want everything to be just a singular line thickness. We want there to be a variety of line thicknesses as well as a variety of ways to make different values. So you're going to get a small piece of paper like this, and we have a variety of gel pen sizes. We're going from an 05 to an 08 to a 10, and then this one is a little bit bigger than a 10. It doesn't have any actual numbers on it, but what we're gonna do with this is just to try to see how our marks can be made on the page and what different types of values we can make by using these different ones. Now the 05 is relatively small, so it's not gonna give us a whole lot, and we wanna look and see how the angle of holding the pen is going to change things up. So a lot of times with these gel pens, holding them straight up and down will give you a thicker line or a more consistent line. A lot of times if you hold it sideways, you can see that it will give you a line that is kind of split down the middle like that. Okay, and the bigger the pen, the kind of thicker that line is, but we want to make sure that we can get those filled in. So stippling works really well to try to get those values in. We're using dots to fill stuff in. You just have to be mindful that as you pick your pen up off the page, you don't accidentally drag it, because it will give you a dashed line instead of a dot. Okay. Now there's two ways that you can go about thinking to do this. Because we are working with white, you can draw your objects and draw your highlights as the thing that are on your page, or so you're kind of drawing things backwards. Or you can treat it as just a regular drawing and draw it just like you would any other drawing. Just like always, we're going to start out with a couple thumbnail drawings. Now with this, we are working with a design or piece of paper that is square. So we want to make sure that our thumbnail drawings are square as well. Okay. When we get your two ideas laid out, and go ahead and turn that into the assignment, and then you want to decide what it is that you want to do. So right now I've got this guy that I've been drawing, since I was in high school. His name's Mort, and I don't have it filled in all the way here, so I've got a lot of open space. So I want to decide what I want to do with that. So I've got the general shape of the main figure, and I have a lot of space that I'm going to fill in. Now I've got a lot of spaces in here that I can use to kind of make some shapes. So I'm going to do kind of a little bit of a Zentangle kind of Tetris vibe here and fill in the rest of it, and I can fill these shapes in with some dots to give it a little bit of variety of value. So that way I can get a little bit of different things going on. So I'm using a variety of shapes here to kind of fill this in, and we can do that. Now as we go on to our final paper, we're going to lightly draw this stuff out with a pencil. As we draw this out, you can see that it's kind of hard to see because we're drawing on black. And that's fine, because ultimately we're going to be drawing on here with a pen. So we don't necessarily need it to be very, very dark, because it's not going to be there when we're all done. So I'm just real quick sketch some of this out. I'm not going to draw all of it out for this. I will just put an image at the end of the video here when I get it all done. But you can see that I'm just kind of getting the basic shapes. I'm not getting all the details in there. and I just want to see where things are going to fit on the page. So that way, if I need to, I can kind of move things around. So this will get me going, and I've drawn him enough that I know how to get the rest of it in. I just want to get it started here. So I'm going to go in with my 8, and it's important that it does say it on the pen itself and it says it on the cap. So, but we want to make sure that we keep these things separate. So always put the pen or the cap on the back of the pen, so that way you know which one it goes to. Now, much like when we ink something with a marker, we want to try to pull and make as consistent of a line as possible, so that way we don't have it to look real sketchy. Now, if that's the look that you're going for, by all means, have it be a little bit of a sketchy line. But sometimes we want to make a nice clean line. Now, obviously here, and it might not show up on camera, but I'm not getting my pen lines exactly where my pencil lines are, and that's fine because I can always go back in and erase stuff. And if I have an area that I want to fill in solid, I can come in, and it's best to do kind of circular motions. And because this is a liquid, you might have to let it sit and dry before you go in and make a second coat onto it to try to get that filled in solid. Now, traditionally, gel pen doesn't go full on solid as far as coverage goes, and that's fine because that's what, kind of part of what you work with when you're working with material. So as you do this, you want to kind of take your time with it, because obviously you're working with a pen and there's no erasing. So we want to make sure that the lines that we put down are where we want them to be. Now, I think I have his head here a little big, so his chin might run off. It might be right where I want it to be. We'll see once I get stuff laid out on there. All right, so I'm going to continue this off camera, and then when I'm done, I'm going to post a picture at the end of the video, so that way you can see what it looks like. Just remember, you want to use the entirety of the page. So you want to fill in all of that space, whether you use lines like this or you use dots of various different sizes to fill it in. You want it to make sense, so that way it looks like one cohesive unit. Because if you just throw a bunch of stuff on there, it's not going to make sense and it's not going to look the way that you want it to. So put a little bit of thought into it. Do not rush through it, and you will end up with a drawing that looks, hopefully there's a lot of contrast, because we've got the white lines of the marker, or the pen rather, and we have the dark of the background. So those are going to push and pull. So we want it to really make sure that the image is going to stand out. So like I said, I will put an image at the end. Good luck and good drawing.